As they slowly moved through the forest, it wasn't long before they could see movement between the trees. So that could have been our dinner. James sighed as he watched the deer being eaten by forest wolves. There were only 3 of them, which was a little unusual, but not out of the realm of possibilities. It could be that the 3 were hunting animals to bring back to the pack. Eating the deer was likely not just for food, but also to lighten the animal to make it easier to drag back. James didn't know the hunting behavior of the monsters, so he could only guess. "Do you think there are more?" Maya asked Mim. "It's possible, but I feel like Celine would have returned by now if that was the case. There would have been tracks of the others for Celine to spot," Mim said while he kept his eyes on the monsters. "It's not necessary to see the other wolves," James thought to himself, just realizing that would be the case. "I feel like I'm learning a lot even with the casual information being presented. Not just with gaining more levels. Working with Mim and his group is going to be extremely valuable with the experience they share with us." With the knowledge that it was likely that they were only the wolves that they saw, the decision was now whether they should engage them. "This could be better in a way," James said quietly. Mim and Maya looked at him before returning their attention to the wolves. "I mean, we only found 1 deer, but needed 2. Now, we'll be able to get 3 forest wolves that are much larger than a deer," James grinned. Maya rolled her eyes at James's attempt at humor while Mim cracked a smile. With the added humor, there was slightly less tension. "Do we wait for Celine to come back?" James asked. Mim shook his head. "Celine will be able to see us engaging the wolves and join us. The question is just how to attack them," he said. Watching the wolves, James tried to think of a plan. They'd likely go with what Mim decided, but James felt it was important to have multiple plans to consider. Just because Mim was more experienced, it didn't mean that he should just rely on Mim for everything. There was a potential that the plan that James thought of could be better than what Mim had in mind. James also knew that Mim would have no issue going with James's plan if it was better. Mim wasn't the type of leader who would find it degrading to go with something devised by a person of a lower level. Each of the wolves seemed to be of a similar size. They likely have similar experience in hunting other creatures, James thought to himself. He tried to spot anything that would give them an advantage. If one of the wolves was weaker, it would be wise to attack that one first. It would be one less set of teeth that could take a bite out of them. Since they were all specialized in mobility, though Mim and Maya were for ranged attacks, none of them had armor that could take on attacks from multiple opponents without backup from adventurers like Kate or Sam. "Why don't both of you attack the ones not eating? I suspect the one that's dining on the deer would be burdened with the extra weight and could be slightly sluggish," James offered up his thoughts. This plan would take advantage of Maya and Mim's weapons, while building on top of Mim's plan. "I'll head to the one that's feasting on the deer," James said. Maya looked at James. "Are you going to be able to take on that thing alone?" "If it's just one-on-one, I think I'll be fine. I should be a few levels above it," James said. Forest wolves were monsters that could be handled by adventurers that were level 15. They were similar to forest cats, though forest wolves were often slightly larger in size.